For the small price of $90,000, you can purchase this 540 horsepower inline 6 twin turbo Raptor destroying competitor, the Ram RHO. Or for $90,000 on the used market, you can purchase that 702 horsepower 6.2 liter supercharged V8 Raptor R killing Ram TRX. Let's answer the $90,000 question. Does it make more sense to buy a brand new Ram RHO or a used Ram TRX with around 20,000 miles on it? Today, let's find that out. My name is Austin. My dad, Todd, and I, we make all types of different car videos and all types of different cars. Let's go get after it.
There's a couple things I absolutely love. One of which is when auto manufacturers, they go back and forth. There's a boxing match year after year with more horsepower, larger tires, better suspension travel. We found ourselves in that environment when Ford switched over to the EcoBoost for a handful of years, getting rid of the V8, introducing the V6. That's when Ram saw its end. They started to come up with the idea to release this high horsepower, Hellcat powered Ram TRX. The thing is, I also love a good story, and there is a bit of a story around the TRX. You see, they wanted to get this truck to the market in a hurry, knowing that they already had the secret sauce and the formula under the hood, but they didn't have time to come up with a name, or get a new name patent, I should say. So they looked back through their historic files and they found TRX. It was like TRX4 or something, but they saw that TRX. And knowing that there was a Raptor that they were competing against, it is merely by coincidence that they found this name TRX, T-Rex, which killed Raptors, and they introduced it to the market. The beginning of 21 is when that TRX was released, and it only lasted a couple years. The end of 23 was the last year you could buy a brand new TRX. This is when things started to really go downhill for Ram, Jeep, Dodge. The manufacturers that made some of the most rowdy vehicles on the market for over a decade, in my opinion, they were on this big kick for EV, getting rid of their V8s, getting rid of their legendary Hemi, and a lot of us auto enthusiasts have absolutely been scratching our heads on what the heck are they doing. So Ram has said that the new RHO is not a direct replacement to the TRX, but it is the highest trim complement to the Ram lineup. RHO, you would think, has some crazy awesome story to kill the Raptor in the competition, but no, that competition now is gone in Ram's mind, and we just have the Ram high output.
You would think with the path that Stellantis is on that they just literally took the exact same truck and put a smaller motor in it and charged almost the exact same price. And in that sense, it makes it makes no sense. None.
It really doesn't.
Absolutely zero. But apparently they did change some things, so let's go ahead and try to figure those out on the mechanical side of things in just a second after we look at the visual side of things. First of all, the new headlights that are brand new. They look fantastic.
They do. They look really good.
The lights look really, really good. However, they're not a whole lot different from the old ones.
They're not.
We have the same housing, basically, the same look to them. Just the inside and the LED runners are a little bit different, but they are cooler in my opinion.
I agree.
Let's talk about the grille. We have some larger openings here on the RHO. We have more airflow with some larger openings in between the grille pieces here. We have a slightly differently designed opening down at the bottom here. We also have adaptive cruise control and a highway self-driving assist. We have ourselves a sensor right in the middle of it here on the RHO. The overall front end of this car, though, if I were to see it in the mirror, I would immediately assume is a TRX. There is not that many differences, but they are subtle.
Yeah, there's so many things that are the same. You know, you have your same three very, clearance lights that make the car stand out like crazy, or the truck, I should say. You have the exact same badging on the side, they just say something different.
Yep.
So if you were to do a quick glance, like same hood vent, same clearance lights, exact same lights here on the front bumper.
I mean,
like
same fenders front and rear.
Yep.
This thing has the same stance.
Yep.
Putting these next to each other, they look like the same height.
which they are the same truck from a size standpoint. We're essentially just bypassing the side of the RHO and the TRX. That's because they are essentially identical. Now there are a few things to talk about. Yeah, we have some beadlock capable 18-inch wheels over on the RHO, where the TRX does not have those, but we have the exact same size rubber, the 325, 65, 18 on both vehicles. We do have a rock slide over on the RHO, which you could get those on the TRX if my memory's right, but this one does not show that. So you can at least pick up on those visual cues if you're in the market, if you like those or not. So make sure you're paying attention to that. But ultimately, we do have the same suspension for the most part. So the suspension travel is the same, but they did do some different items as far as like hardened up some bushing and made some small tweaks. And ultimately what this is for is A, to make sure that the dampeners can't completely bottom out, but there's also a ride refinement that you're going to find in the RHO, taking away some of the TRX rowdiness. That's not the only thing that this changed, some of the suspension tweaks. Now again, same suspension travel between the two. So front and rear, exact same suspension travel. They just did some improvements to improve the ride quality. But if you start looking at the numbers between the RHO and the TRX, what you're going to find is the payload capacity is like 200-300 pounds more on the RHO, and the same is true for the towing capacity. So you're in the low 8,000 pound range. You went up 300 pounds for your towing capacity on the RHO from the TRX. That's right in line with a Raptor, by the way.
Is that because it weighs 300 pounds less than the TRX?
There is that too, right? So good point, Austin. You take 2 cylinders out up front, and the truck all of a sudden magically weighs around 300 pounds less.
And around back, if we look at the top half of the back window here, identical between the TRX and RHO. When we look at the tailgate, once again, pretty much identical. We refreshed the taillights just like we did basically on the headlights up front. That's all I can see for differences. Something else that I find to be quite funny is all out revving the RHO is similar in decibels to the Ram TRX at an idle.
What's important to notice as well is you have the exact same massive 5-inch exhaust tips on the TRX that you're finding over on the brand new RHO.
Getting inside of the RHO here, by the way, those are the most pointless rock rail running board things ever. They put this little step on there, like you totally can't use that to get inside of this thing. But once you're in, it feels like I'm behind the wheel of the TRX. We're gonna get to that in a second here, but they did add some amenities that we do need to talk about. We do have a slightly larger infotainment screen. I will admit the clarity looks a little bit better on it, but it's not all that different. The functionality of it's very similar. It's got a little bit of lag. It works quite well. It looks nice. It's not going to change the experience that you're going to have behind the wheel of this thing. However, what might change the experience is the active driving assist. Now that we have, it's not fully automated driving, but it'll steer for you. It'll be nice behind the wheel for sure. Definitely an amenity that would be nice to have over on the TRX for long road trips. Speaking of long road trips, let's talk about gas mileage. You would think that maybe you want to pursue the old Hurricane here for better fuel economy. 2 less cylinders, couple of turbos. It's only different by about 3 miles per gallon. One thing I do need to bring up, however, is with the 33-gallon gas tank, the Ram RHO can go an additional 100 miles over the TRX if you manage to keep your foot out of it. Throughout the inside of this thing, we have a new passenger screen, which quite honestly, once we get to the TRX, I'll show you. I prefer what the TRX has over the passenger screen. We have a slightly larger screen here in the dash. Over 50 inches of screen across the whole front is what Ram is claiming. It looks nice in here. It really does. It's well put together. It's a beautiful looking interior. It has massaging seats now, which do feel great. And it has this sweet badge that tells us that we have Garrett turbos and how much power it makes and our VIN number. But ultimately, this is so similar to the previous Ram TRX's interior that you're not going to care that much when it comes to, well, the additional 140 horsepower and 130 pound-feet of torque just don't equate to the differences here.
Already 2 years old in the TRX here. I think it is important to note that the quality of the interior, the wear points, it still looks really good inside the TRX. Austin mentioned we have the 12.5-inch screen in the center here versus the 14-inch that is now available in the new RHO. Also, in front of the passenger, we don't have that fancy screen as an option over there. We have a storage bin instead. What we do have that is very similar is a lot of the red stitching. A lot of the buttons look very familiar. We have the same plaque, the same like Alcantara type material, the same carbon fiber type material, the same speaker grills. So a lot of this truck is very, very familiar compared to the brand new 2 model year newer Ram RHO. One of the talking points that may be a selling point for some, at least I think that's what Ram's goal is that a brand new RHO can be had in the $80,000 range. The TRX that we're sitting in, although 2 years older, was $103,000 MSRP. The RHO was $89,000 in today's video, and that is still a lot of money. So you really have to ask yourself the question, is a couple hundred pounds of more towing capacity, a slightly improved ride, maybe a few more miles per gallon, does that make the experience of having the legendary proven reliability of the 6.2 liter Hemi Hellcat motor over 700 horsepower, does it make it worth it to buy a brand new RHO with a maybe unproven reliability? Inline sixes are really cool. Like, I don't want to dismiss that at all, but it's not necessarily have the proven track record that a Hellcat motor has.
One thing we forgot to mention that I think is something that's very important is one of the things I was kind of hoping that they would change going to the RHO was giving us the availability to not have it in 4-wheel drive at all times and have a rear wheel drive option. But just like the TRX, it is all-time, full-time 4-wheel drive here in the RHO. Is it just as fun as the TRX? That's what we're here to find out today. So we're gonna drive them back to back. Taking it around some corners, it handles great. It's a lot of fun. It is no slouch. It makes all the right noises. What's it like to accelerate in the RHO? Let's go ahead and find out. At 60, it's no slouch. It really is quite a quick truck. It puts you to the back of your seat. It makes all the right sounds. Those shift farts out of the ZF are really a good time. It very much so is throwing both my passenger and I to the back of our seat. The sounds are so good. I love how heavy and weighty the steering feel is inside of this thing. And I must admit, it drives just like a luxury truck. The exterior noise really is quite minimal compared to what I was expecting for how big and knobby of tires are on this thing. It feels like a quiet, nice place to be. It rides great. It feels great. It's a nice, comfortable, fun to drive big truck. It still can break all 4 tires loose in the snow. It can get a little bit slick and rowdy. It is a good time. It is not lacking that fun truck feeling going down to an inline 6 like I would have thought that it would have. It still is quick. It still is a good time. I liked the Hurricane. Now, I'll be honest, getting behind the wheel of the TRX here, throwing it into some corners, I do not feel that additional 300 pounds in this vehicle. I really don't. I mean, it feels just as planted. It honestly feels pretty much the exact same behind the wheel. I have that same heavy steering feel. All in all, it feels like a great handling truck, just like the RHO. But one thing that is a little bit different is, holy cow, does this thing pull hard compared to that Hurricane. It's not even comparable to the Hurricane when it comes to the amount of power this thing has all of the time. And listen. Just listen to that. That supercharger whine is so addicting, and the sound is intoxicating. The Hurricane does sound good. It's got a great sound to it. It has those cool, fun shift points that we can experience when we're accelerating inside of the Hurricane. But no matter what you're doing in this thing, if you're downshifting, if you're just lightly on the throttle, if you're full throttle, at all times the sound is just so much better in the TRX. You have the supercharger whine, which sounds like the world ending behind you. Let's see if it feels the same when we accelerate from a stop. Holy cow, broke all 4 tires loose. It felt so much more dramatic. Yet I feel like I went 0 to 60 in the exact same distance when doing it in the same spot that I did in the Hurricane. And that would kind of compare to the numbers because they're only about a 10th off from the 0 to 60 in the quarter mile. But just the excitement, the dramatic, the personality is so much greater behind the wheel of the TRX that I just don't feel when I'm behind the wheel of the Hurricane. And breaking all 4 wheels loose at 50 miles an hour, guys, like, this is a whole nother animal. The fact that both of these trucks are for sale right now for essentially the exact same price. This one is a certified pre-owned vehicle with the warranty on it still, so it's not even like this is an out of warranty old vehicle. It's 2 years old with 20,000 miles on it. Why would you ever buy the RHO?
Austin, I think it's a pretty simple answer to the question, which one would you choose? I think it's probably very similar to if we were in Raptors and comparing the Raptor R to the Raptor.
It's a totally different story, though. The Raptor R it's $120,000 plus. The Raptor you can find on the used market now, or even a brand new Raptor is $90,000. So you're talking about the Raptor R and the Raptor still have a $30,000 price gap. The Ram TRX, since there were so many more built than Raptor Rs, compared to the RHO now, like they're right on, dead on the same price, new versus used.
Yeah, and my point was, I'm going with the V8 all day.
Oh,
right?
I 100% agree with that, yeah.
And that's where my head is. Now, if we change the question or we change the tone of the conversation, are you going RHO versus Raptor EcoBoost? I'm going RHO all day. So it is a nice truck. It obviously is comfortable. The interior is great. You know, the TRX, I did say earlier that there's not much wear. There's just a little bit of Alcantara wear. So this is a nice interior. It's a great place to be. It's still a rowdy truck over on the RHO, so that is fun from an enthusiast standpoint, but it is no TRX.
It is no TRX, and the subtle differences just don't make enough difference to me. The gas mileage isn't that much better. The towing capacity isn't that much better. There isn't enough things that are enough better to top the supercharged V8 screaming when you're behind the wheel of this thing. So thank you guys so much for tuning into this video today here on Performance on Wheels. Curious what you guys have picked down in the comments below, or which one you did pick. Let us know. See you next time.